I'm soaring, friends. I am Vitaly Portnikov, the candidate of the Democratic Party with the received state's ultra-level policies for security Mamdani Unchikova us at the election of the mayor of New York, and the type with the received states, and in that, the yak will develop the largest and most popular American. Here the torture is that the yak is developing politically with the received states in nabe and yaks, and there will be heirs for the retinue. It happened once, explaining that the commandment was also thrown at the far-right turn of the Republican Party from the received states. And the success of the magician in a political organization led to the collapse. The ultra-left turn of the Democratic Party, I am not Tilke traditional choice of the party with a broad and stake of those American elections for the ages Shukayat hero 4 years. And people also voted for the ultra-right Donald Trump. Tomorrow they may vote for the ultra-left candidate. They have not yet beaten the politics of the ultra-right. The authorities have not behaved like social Westerners with Yakimev, tied their votes. Elections to the Democratic Party. You decided to remove tribute from the Guard, and in the primaries with Democracy in New York and the PPR. The topic of revenge is now being discussed, demonstrating that a left turn has taken place. Behind Mamdani's back, it is known that Donald Trump is not a typical politician for the Democratic Party. Yak is not a typical politician for the Republican Party. Boof Donald Trump on the cob of his political career. Trump, with the knowledge of another Tilka of the ultra-right has been extinguished, can unite traditional conservatives firm and radical ideas in the elections. Until he was ready to vote for traditional Republicans, however, he often beat Democratic candidates. For the protection of ultra-democratic parties, united by traditional democratic elections, and with ultra-socialist ideas. And Yak Bonnie for Donald Trump cannot for such a vote. In the elections in New York, having become conceded on the Tilka, the Republican candidate still had a heifer, Andrew Cuomo, just before the election of Petra Donald Trump. So the demonstration that the Democrats were triumphant in front of the Republicans and on the deposits of the Republican Party was traditionally strong and became gubernatorial elections, Yaki at the same time as the election of the mayor of New York. These were the elections in Virginia and New Jersey. Democratic parties are represented in Bogotki by the governors. That the Democratic governor of New Jersey did not have a history with the received states. Cha democracy to can be an indicator, maybe left turn. Democrats need Tilke to properly pedit candidates without beating populist. However, it is still necessary to inform the right Pitbeer and Democratic Party for the elections. So I am to the success of Donald Trump is the far-right Zruhu MAGA practicals niche in the Republican Party, and the porch to a completely new political organization. I don't have anything cut from Republicans America and the 20th. Traditional democracy, because we are, of course, so not a traditionally democratic party, is simply not a Republican ultra-right. So buried with the ultra-right Tilke ultrali. And the ultra-right will not be able to pass the speed of the status with the tools for the American to send their thoughts about the results of ultra-right rule. with a bite in order to have such tools, and put such a rank and a crab on the history of American democracy to PPR. The elections for Mamdani's protection are extremely political. We have a war of the dignified president, with the yaki received in the state, with the mayor of New York, and with the representatives of the Democratic Party. Before the elections, there will be transitions to both Bilsh and our populist position. However, you are trying to get the courage to jump out at discounts from Donald Trump. Pretend to get states from electoral democracy to a personalistic dictatorship and discounts from the received states. Gave a chance to Ukraine. For Donald Trump, it's unlikely. We ourselves have lived in Ukraine. I was cast as an ultra-politician and a politician. Koli to Vlad are the ultrals, and the shlyak of the revolution, the shlyak of the coup, and the shlyak of democratic elections. Vlad does not have a view, and over with the dateness of the mind, the tools of Vlad are in powerful hands on the richly effective and expressively niche ultra-right politics. So the competition between the ultra-left and the ultra-right is being chased by the clock. The yaks may be tied to the yak out of a serious problem about the functioning of the most democratic institutions, and with an idle Hromadyansky conflict with the profile and bipolar positions of the American political. We can also say that with American political stability, we can say goodbye to the retinue if necessary. America has been attacked by authoritarian market regimes on the values of democracy. America, I could effectively talk about the People's Republics of China and the Russian Federation. Their namaga becomes a political and economic hegemony in Europe, that the Asian Caucan region is the shlyak of an economical search, and the fallout from Putin's Russia is the shlyak of guilt on the European continent. However, such an America, it does not get an effective and unified foreign policy priorities look firm the protection of mothers of tribute. With the look of Donald Trump at the close-sheet torture, there will not be such food on America yet. And the head torture of the offensive, and the seams of the retinue without such a geopolitical leader, is not because America is blessed with such a leader, but because of internal conflicts, and not the potential of such a leader. On the channel. Subscribe to him, subscribe to my social channel in Patrine, helps to develop these resources feature the most sponsorship YouTube.